Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fake Chats. I'm your host, Andrew Brunet, and today I've got with me national recording artist Natasha Owens. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great and excited to talk with you. You've released projects over the last year. Can you take us back to the beginning and what really sparked your passion for music?
I come from a very musical family, loved music, but struggled with severe anxiety. So I always wanted to be in the background. God has a funny sense of humor. And it was my dad dying in 2010, sitting at a table cleaning his guns. A bullet hit him in the heart, and he was gone so quickly. And I didn't handle that recovery very well. I questioned God, I questioned why. And I down spiraled into a deep depression, and it was music that saved my life. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for God. And so we started in contemporary Christian music back 13 years ago, just trying to give hope and letting people know that when they go through something faith shaking, that God is still with them. And every project under my Christian walk, out of recovery, was another chapter of my recovery, and I didn't even know it until afterwards, looking back on the road, from making it through a trial to rising above to being a true warrior and truly standing in Christ. So that's kind of what got me started in the music industry.
So, how did your earliest influences shape the patriotic powerhouse that you are today?
Well, my family is full of veterans on both sides, and I've always loved this country. I've always loved the freedom and understanding that freedom is not free. The sacrifice that's on the soldier, as well as the family, is a great sacrifice, and I've always been very reverent of that. But in 2020, when everything was shut down, I think it was the first time in my life that I had seen our freedoms being infringed upon, like no other. And we were all down off the road that year, and I hit a lot of things that I wanted to get done off my bucket list. One of them being a Christmas album, the second one being a patriotic album. So we did a project called American Patriot, and I was proud of that. But Nashville, in the contemporary Christian world, being very progressive, liberal, woke views, did not like that I did that. And on that album, I put a pro life song, which that was what got me boycotted. I was boycotted from radio stations, promoters, because I was too pro life. And, you know, I was proud of that patriotic album, and we were giving back to soldiers and soldiers' families and organizations that were helping soldiers with that project. So I didn't apologize. I doubled down and I turned a little differently from a patriotic walk, still patriotic, but into a political, social walk of choosing topics that we're not allowed to talk about or too controversial, and shining a little bit of truth on that. That's what I've been doing this past couple years.
Which brings up the new single, Climate Change is Real. Tell us a little bit about that.
So we've hit topics, a couple Trump songs in there. Trump won, came out in 2023 about the 2020 election, when we really weren't allowed to talk about how that debacle happened. That got me to a different level of controversy. So fast forward to all these topics that we've hit, and we can talk about some of those if you want. But the new one, climate change is real, we kind of had to rebrand it in climate change is real stupid. My husband had said that for a couple years. He wanted to do a song to poke at the and make fun of the ridiculousness of the climate genre, of the billionaires that are zooming around in their jets but forcing us to suck out of paper straws that collapse very quickly. And it just didn't make sense, right? And they were censoring anything that was against their narrative, which made me tune into it. There has to be some truth in there if they're censoring these scientists. So we did it in a very fun, clever way. We incorporated AI, as well as me and my husband, into that music video. If you haven't seen it, you should, because it's really funny.
So, the song calls out what you describe as the hypocrisy and lies in the left's climate crisis narrative. How did you craft the lyrics to balance sharp satire with a call for common sense without losing your signature pop energy?
you know, We can write Christian songs, worship songs. We can write five in a day, something that's very easy for me and my team. When it comes to these type songs, it takes us forever, like 3 to 6 months sometimes, because I don't want them to be parodies. I want them to have tons of truth in them, but one wrong word makes it cheesy, right?
Right.
And so we sit with it until we feel like it is just clever enough and not cheesy. And so if you really we're poking, but we're also shining truth to the fact that, China is the number one offender when it comes to pollution and polluting the waters and the air, and no one will say anything to them. No one says anything about Greta Thunberg, who has been just a crazy climate activist. Nobody really pushes back at AOC or Bernie Sanders or John Kerry or Al Gore. So if you listen to it, I hope you see that there's truth, there's common sense, and it's very clever. Someone told me you don't need to put AIs in your videos anymore, and I said, well, when I Googled, I could not find a picture of Al Gore on an iceberg with a penguin and a hair dryer trying to get global warming. So we had to create that, and I hope you see all of that when you watch it.
So, co-written with your husband David Owens and produced again by Ian Eskelin, this feels like a natural extension of That America. What was the most fun or challenging part of bringing this track to life in the studio?
Well, the most fun I had, in contemporary Christian and all the genres of music, radio kind of draws a very thick and big line of different instruments that you can't use, even as the way that you sing it, right? Certain things are not, like a lot of reverb is not allowed in contemporary Christian like it is in Southern gospel. And so I got to do whatever I wanted to do. After Trump one hit and went number one, um, I'm kind of, the media deemed me as the next Lee Greenwood. Because they did that, I'm kind of not stuck in a genre and I can do anything I want. So we've got a country song on there. We've got pop and contemporary Christian and 80s rock and just different flavors, right? And I had a blast just coming up with whatever I wanted to do, and I didn't have to follow any rules. Um, I love, love, love. We've only done one country song, and we put that out last October, called "Give Me a Cowboy." And I did not think I would like the country genre as much as I did, but I had a blast not only filming that music video, but creating that song. We wanted to hit the topic of the demasculation of men, how Hollywood always has a woman hero these days, and how men can't have babies, just complete common sense, right? And
Right.
standing up for Christian biblical values that the church is not doing. So I had a blast with that song. But each song on That America is very different, very different flair, and a different reason why I created each one. I kind of thought it was going to be a project of misfits, but they all kind of mold mesh together pretty well.
So you got to work with Grammy-nominated Ian Eskelin in Nashville. What drew you to collaborate with him, and how did his production style bring out the album's patriotic energy?
So he's done 5 albums for me so far, and we're creating a sixth one. So 5 out of the 7. I had the second album. First album was with Jacob Lowery. Second one was with Ed Cash, and at that time in Nashville, everybody was telling me, if you want to go a little bit more pop, which I love. I was an '80s kid, so I wanted '80s rock in a lot of the layers of some of my songs. They said, you need to go with Ian. He's the latest and greatest thing. He's done all of Francesca Battistelli's. At that time, he had just produced God is on the Move for Seventh Time Down that had hit. And so we got to him, and it was like we had known him all of our life. Me and my husband just became instant friends. He's become now our best friend, our business partner. And he was a breath of fresh air back, my goodness, I don't even know what year it was, but the Warrior album was the first album with him, and we have just had a blast. And he's followed us on this road. Now we're on a road that we get death threats, we get people not wanting to talk to us, we get witches casting spells, you name it. We've got mortar shells. in Nashville outside of Ian's home, 5 different times someone threw a bomb in the storm drain, and significant foundation issues to his house because of Trump won. Um, and that's the side that people don't always see, that there's a great sacrifice when you stand up for truth, but it's worth it. Worth it. You just have to have a big backbone.
Like our friend Charlie Kirk that just recently got murdered. I mean, my goodness, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was. We knew Charlie. I sang for Turning Point quite a bit over the past few years, and he was such an amazing man. I saw his journey, though. He started out in politics, and over the past 3 years or so, he's really turned where God and Christianity was everything to him, and it came up in every topic of conversation. And so Charlie didn't get murdered for his political views. He got murdered for his biblical godly values that he's standing up for. And I'm so glad that there's been an awakening. Usually, when something like that happens, people get very scared, right? And the church has been scared for years, but I'm so glad it had the opposite effect. It's been amazing to see God work.
So the title "That America" evokes a strong sense of nostalgia and pride. What core themes or stories from American life inspired the tracks on this record?
We hit the Rhino it's my, what I call my political album. We went from patriotic to political with That America. We have Trump one on there. We have The Chosen One, which was very controversial. It was a Trump song I wrote saying he's not the Messiah, but an imperfect man has always been used through history by perfect God. We did the Gimme the Cowboy, hit the demasculation and the defense of the nuclear family, of how God created the family unit. That was a to stand up for that. We hit the Rhino Republicans. We hit the Second Amendment. We hit geez, I'm trying to think. We did a Blessed is the Nation whose God is our Lord. If I had an opportunity to sing at the inauguration, which I didn't for the two big events with President Trump, but I sang the entire weekend there at inauguration in DC. But you know, blessed is the nation whose nation declares that there is a one true God. So we put that on there. We put a song inspired and written by Ian and Alveda King. She's a good friend of mine. She's Martin Luther King's niece, and we put an Occupy song, just saying that we're dealing with spiritual warfare here. We have to put on the full armor of God every day, and we have to claim the ground. The Christians have to claim that ground and walk that ground and occupy it, fully occupy it, instead of running in retreat. So I thought that was important to talk about. And then That America was the last one that went on there, became the title track. We ran out of time. I wanted to create a video before the election, because it talks about a girl in the future looking back and saying, Mama always told me of that America, the America where we had freedom to go to church, where we had freedom to make our own choices. And she's literally in like a lockdown type situation, looking back saying, I wish we had that America. I wanted to do that song to show the American people of what we would be risking if President Trump did not get back in. It would be a totally different world right now, heading definitely towards the end times and one world government. I do think that he has derailed it a little bit and pushed it back, but um, I don't know. I thought that was important before the election. So it's a collection of different themes, different sounds, but yet I hope you see it like I do. I really do think that they mesh together pretty well.
So if you had to pick one song from That America that fans should listen to first, which would it be and why? What personal story does it tell?
Ah, my goodness. It's like asking a mother to pick which favorite child, that's hard. I love them for different reasons. Um, you have to go see the videos. If you're a big Trump supporter and you haven't heard Trump won, that went around the world, that went platinum, and it's really funny. Even today, people are singing it, even though it pertains to the 2020 election. We put a remix out for that at the last election too, in November. But if you're a country fan, you need to listen to the "Give Me a Cowboy" song. Absolutely. If you are a one that just loves how God blesses us and how Christians need to stand up and fight, you got "Occupy" and you've got um, um, "Blessed is the Nation." So I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to give an opinion. I love them all for different reasons.
So you've lit up stages at CPAC and Mar-a-Lago and countless conservative gatherings. What's been the most memorable crowd reaction you've gotten during the live performance of one of your anthems?
My goodness. So I did I was a part of a concert on the lawn at Mar-a-Lago back 3 years ago. So President Trump was out of office by then. And Lee Greenwood had an hour. I had 30 minutes. And President Trump came down and sat on the front row. And he talked to me the entire time I sang. He telling me he liked that verse or he liked that song or he liked that chorus. And when I sang my pro-life song, he cried, tears streamed down his face, and he clutched his chest like patting his heart. It touched his heart. Um, so that one will be number one in the books for me. That was a really cool moment that I feel like God gave me. Um, we've been, with CPAC, I put outrageous statements about my songs on my dresses because the liberal press is there. And even if I'm just singing the Star Spangled Banner, I actually get in the press, right? They actually cover if I do something outrageous. So I've had a lot of fun prodding the press on a CPAC stage. Jimmy Kimmel's made fun of me. The Daily Show made fun of my performance or made fun of CPAC. But they did say if you want the best rock concert, go to CPAC. So I quoted them on that because that was a compliment to me. That was a cool moment. Um, Probably one of the most recent moments that sticks out. I was at Mar-a-Lago last December, and President Milei of Argentina, who just got reelected for his second term and is changing that country. He said, "Hey, I have an event in about a week and a half. Will you come down to Argentina?" And I said, "Sure." My husband said, "Do you not know where Argentina is?" And I said, somewhere in South America." Well, it was a 14-hour flight. It's
Wow.
down by Antarctica. And so we decided in that week and a half, he's such a Trump supporter and he loves President Trump. That's his mentor. Trump has inadvertently mentored a lot of presidents around this globe, whereas they look up to him. And it's pretty amazing to see this movement and how the people around the world love President Trump. Um, if you think half of the people here in America hate him, you need to really start looking your worldview, because it's an amazing movement of we the people against the elites that's going on. So I went down to Argentina and I took the Trump One song and I rewrote it for President Milei to Milei One, and you know it. And we personalized it, put all his taglines in there, and he absolutely went bananas and lost his mind. They're very dramatic people down there, full of passion. And he grabbed me in a big bear hug and just tossed me around saying, "I love, love, love my song." Now I have 6 world leaders that want me to write a Trump One song for them. They want their own Trump song, which is kind of cool. So that was a good memory, because when I came to President Malay's first tagline in the course of that song, the people lost their minds. I have never seen such celebration, such response to anything that I've ever done. I had to go to Argentina to get that. That was kind of
Oh,
cool.
wow. So you've appeared on Fox News, Newsmax, to even CNN and Al Jazeera. Your media appearances span a wide spectrum. What surprised you most about how your music has been received across different outlets?
It surprised me that when I got to really controversial with the song, Trump one being the first one, the chosen one being another one, that the Republican side and the conservative media would back away from me. I think that was number one shock. I knew that I would get tech suppression. I knew that the left wouldn't give me an opportunity, but I really thought the right had my back. Little did I know they are chicken, chicken, chicken when it comes to um, when the heat is poured on. The chosen one, which was a it was a controversial topic. I knew that it pointed to, I was saying that President Trump was a messiah. We did it kind of at to get it to fly on the charts, but we wrote it right out of the gate that if you even listen to the first verse, you would know that I'm not calling him the Messiah. But it didn't matter. The left took it, thought they had a Christian that finally screwed up, and they advertised it for me. Suddenly, I didn't have text suppression. I had every. I mean, it was on the front of everything, and that's when I had 10,000. I stopped counting at 10,000 comments. I had 10,000 messages from atheists quoting me scripture, and my husband said, I was worried because the conservatives had pulled away from me and was ghosting me. And I said, "What have I done? I didn't think that they would ditch me." And he said, "Tosh, as a Christian, you've done your job. You've had over 10,000 plus atheists open their Bible, read it. You tell me what song has ever done that, ever caused that. As a Christian, you've done your job." So I sat back and said, "You know what? Even if I've ruined my career and I don't have one step forward from here, I'm satisfied as a Christian that I planted that seed." And so, but 3 weeks later, the assassination attempt happened on President Trump in Butler. And suddenly everyone was saying that God was protecting him for calling him for such a time as this, calling him the chosen one. So I kind of got redeemed. But just know if I get out there and the fire gets too hot, the right definitely retreats from me. So that's been kind of surprising.
So, former President Trump shared Trump won on Truth Social multiple times. What does that kind of endorsement mean to you as an artist, and how has it amplified your voice?
Oh my gosh, it was so cool. It calls both the Trump one and the chosen one. You know, of course, those are about him, so he's going to share them. Um, I was the first one in this. You know, many people are doing this type of music now. I was the first one that actually broke through and got acknowledgement from President Trump. It was shocking. I had my phone was ringing off the hook. I didn't even know that he had shared it until, about an hour after he did. And it was really cool because it thought, you know what? I wanted to bring joy to everybody that thought the 2020 election was stolen, but I wanted to bring joy to him and let him know that we have his back, keep fighting for us. And so that gave me great joy with that. And of course, he did it with the chosen one because he likes to prod him too. Of course, I'm the chosen one, he said. But I had someone tell me not too long ago that is on that rides on Air Force One a lot, that every day he still plays Trump One on Air Force One, which I thought was really cool. But they also said that he has a new favorite song. This was back first part of the year, so they said he has a new favorite song of yours. He likes "Give Me a Cowboy." And I said, "You know what? That means more to me than anything because that song is not about him. The other two were. And for him to like, that tells me he likes my music, not just because I'm writing songs about him." So that was really cool. And I don't know if you saw, but 3 weeks ago we got invited to come to the White House. We had the chosen one went gold, and we had the award. We'd given him the Trump One award, which is hanging in Mar-Lago, but the chosen one, it was a new award that we got, and we did one in honorary of him and put his name on it. And we just sent an email to his secretary and said, "Hey, we have an award that we want to with his name that we'd love to give him in the Oval Office." And they responded back within a few hours and said, "Come on, let's book it." So we got to go present that award to President Trump in the Oval Office, and it was an amazing experience. I mean, just very surreal to be in the people's house.
So, finally, what's next for Natasha Owens? What's coming up?
Well, we are, the left gives us titles every day. We get a little distracted in creating songs. So we've got more controversial songs lined up coming out, but we are a part of the America 250 tour. That is the anniversary, 250 anniversary of America. And when I heard President Trump say last year, "We're going to celebrate all year long," I thought, I wonder what he means by that. Well, now I know it is a America 250 tour that is coming to every state. It's going to be 50 states in 50 weeks. So every weekend we're at a different state, and most of the time it's going to be at places like Mount Rushmore and the Alamo, and just historical sites that mean a lot to our history. So then they came back and they asked me to write the anniversary song for America, for that America 250 tour, which was no pressure. My God, it was so much pressure. Took us forever because nothing seemed to be good enough. So we have a song that we're going to be putting out before the end of the year, before that tour starts. It starts New Year's Eve in LA, and it crisscrosses around the country for the entire year. But it's called America 250, and that will be coming out soon. So that's kind of
Wow.
what's next.
Well, Natasha, thank you so much for your time. I have enjoyed this conversation, and
Thank you,
I encourage
Andrew.
our viewers to go to natashaowensmusic.com for more about you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a blessed one.
You too.